Week 6 in the books with a few games left on the field. We appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Let's deliver the big wrap-up show with your help. Please call. The call-in link is there in the chat. I will attempt to drop it in there a few more times, and some of you folks are fine enough to do the same. So grab the call-in link. Give me a call. We'll run through the chat as well. We are here for an hour plus. I will sit here for as long as you want me to sit here to talk college football with you. It hit me at one point today that the Vegas odds told us at the beginning of the season, and I know that I made this comment a number of times, that in sifting through various college football preseason publications, that there were basically three teams that had separated themselves in the offseason as the clear contenders for the national championship. Those did not include Alabama. They did not include Ohio State, Oregon, or Georgia. The three schools that were out in front of everyone else in the Vegas odds and in the national publications were Clemson, Penn State, and Texas. And where are they now? All right, folks, let's get to it. We'll run through the scores, a few that I have yet to see. So I always enjoy this exercise. And again, your comments and questions are welcome. Anyone with any comments or questions right now? I don't see anything. So we'll get to calls here in just a second. The final scores and a few games still in progress, including out on the West Coast in the ACC. Cal leads Duke 21-7. The Golden Bears looking to get to a 5-1 start. Fresno State leads Nevada 10-3. The Bulldogs looking to start the season at 5-1. Ohio State holds Minnesota 42-3. Miami, Florida State. Many of you watched it. Not as close as the final score would indicate in any such way. 28-22. Oklahoma defeated the beloved Golden Flashes 44-0. Texas A&M on top of Mississippi State. Impressive win for the Aggies right there, 31-9. And the one that everyone is talking about, including myself, check out the video I posted. UCLA at the Rose Bowl defeating Penn State 42-37. Unthinkable. Not as unthinkable, but still a surprise to many. Florida defeats Texas 29-21. It was Bama getting revenge on Vandy. Impressive showing by the Tide, going down 14-0 in that game. No, going down 14-7 in that game. 30-14 the final there. Texas Tech on top of Houston 35-11. Many believe the Red Raiders to be the best team in the Big 12. Georgia 35, Kentucky 14. I needed one more point out of the Wildcats. Iowa State goes to Cincinnati. They get just annihilated in the first half. They come back, but they come up short 38-30. Michigan defeats Wisconsin in workmanlike fashion 24-10. Notre Dame on top of Boise State 28-7. We've got Purdue and Illinois. The Illini win a noon Eastern time kickoff 43-27. Virginia continues to win. Many not believing in the Cavaliers win against Florida State. Well, couple the two results from this afternoon and tonight, and Virginia may, in fact, be a better football team than Florida State. They go to Louisville, difficult place to win, 30-27 in overtime. Pitt mauls BC 48-7. Clemson on top of the Belichicks, 38-10. Baylor squeezes by Kansas State, 35-34. It was Air Force going to Navy, and one of the legs of the Commanders-in-Chief trophy goes to the Cadets, 34-31. Army, speaking of which, defeats UAB 31-13. Ohio on the road against Ball State. Cardinals win it 20-14. Wake Forest defeats Virginia Tech 30-23. The Demon Deacons are now 3-2. Temple defeats Texas San Antonio 27-21. NC State on top of Campbell 56-10. Western Michigan goes on the road at UMass, wins 21-3. Arizona defeats Oklahoma State 41-13. Washington comes back in the fourth quarter with 3 touchdowns to win at Maryland 24-20. It's Northwestern 42, Louisiana Monroe 7. App State over Oregon State 27-23. Syracuse goes to Dallas, loses to SMU 31-18. UConn over FIU 51-10. James Madison wins at Georgia State 14-7. Akron 28, Central Michigan 22. Eastern Michigan falls at Buffalo 31-30. It's Miami of Ohio on top of Northern Illinois 25-14. Nebraska wins at home against Michigan State 38-27. Texas State and Arkansas State. You've got ASU with a win 31-30 there. Old Dominion defeats Coastal Carolina 47-7. UNLV on top of Wyoming 31-17. We got Troy 31, South Alabama 24. FAU 27, Rice 21. Colorado loses at TCU 35-21. I needed one more point out of the Buffs. Kansas defeats UCF in Orlando 27-20. We've got a final from Memphis, and the Memphis Tigers are still undefeated and the lead dog in the group of 5 representation for the college football playoff. They defeat the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa 45-7. There are the final scores. And again, 2 games still in progress. Let's get to your calls. We got Michigan Man leading us off tonight. Michigan Man, what's going on?
Yeah, I got a lot to get to. My picture is going to give away how I feel about our coach right now. But yeah, so I got to talk about, and you're going to hear this all night, Mark, but I guess I'll just start it off. That is one of the greatest upsets I've seen in a long time, Mark.
Yes.
Penn State losing to what I think is one of the worst teams in Power 4 football.
Yep.
How shocked were you? Did you even watch the game? Like, did you think it would? Were you like, man, that game's not going to be close? I'm not even going to watch it.
Yeah,
or were
plan
you
on it because there were some good 3:30 games. Alabama, Vandy, and Florida, Texas were my 2 choices. So I didn't even. And then obviously UCLA jumps out to a lead, and I thought, well, I'm going to give this some time and see if Penn State comes back. And the more I saw the score come in, I didn't catch up with this game until. Because the other games were in doubt and I just wanted to see them play out. So I didn't see any of this until Penn State was attempting to win the game. So it was 42-35. I saw UCLA almost blow it, try to hand them the game. I don't know if you saw the end of the game where UCLA had the ball and they had
I didn't see the last like 30 seconds because I just thought the game was over. Okay, did they get a safety or something? Because wasn't it 42-35? I turned it off at that point because they gave it away, or they did a QB draw and he got on 4th down. I was like, okay, the game's over.
Yeah.
And then I looked back and it was like, wait a minute, now it's 42-37. So I didn't see what happened.
Yeah, UCLA didn't want to punt, so they ran the ball out of the end zone. And then they had a free kick with whatever time left on the clock, like 15 seconds.
Well, Mark, let me tell you how, since you didn't watch it, and maybe you caught up on how the game went. The game was shocking because it was 27-7 in the first half.
Yeah.
Well, just repeat that to yourself. 27-7 UCLA to Penn State in the first half. And really the only reason they I know they climbed back in the second half, but one of the big reasons they were able to do that was it was 27-14. And UCLA is a bad team, so they're going to do things like this.
Yep.
They didn't block the punt well, and they got a blocked punt return for a touchdown and made it 27-21. But to give up 42 points to this UCLA team is just shocking, like beyond shocking. Yeah. This is the same team that couldn't move the ball against group of 5 competition for weeks.
Scored 10 points against New Mexico State. I watched the extended highlights, like the 20-minute version against Northwestern, and that was like watching a high school game. They're terrible. Yeah. They even tried to give it away. Did you see? Well, so you must have seen the sequence where UCLA had the ball, not the last time in the final like 15 or 20 seconds, but the time before. So it's 42-35. And they've got a 3rd and 1, and they throw the ball to the running back in the flat. He's wide open, and he trips and falls down by himself. Like Penn State doesn't make a play, and UCLA can't even get a first down when the back's wide open to catch the football because he trips and falls and lands a yard short of the first down. And then they went for it on fourth down. They got stuffed. So they handed here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Here's the ball at the 25-yard line to win the game, to tie and take us to overtime. And Penn State still couldn't get it done.
Are you talking about the sequence where they did a QB run from shotgun on like 14 inches or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So that, again, it's what bad teams do. They do things that don't make sense, right? And yeah. So where would you rank this? Because to me, this isn't just an upset. To me, this is an all-time upset.
Yeah.
So where would you rank this in your list of all-time upsets?
That could be the subject of a good video. So I posted something on Penn State and James Franklin after the game, and the one game that came to mind was remember Jim Harbaugh's win at Stanford against USC. They were a 40-point underdog. So the size of the point spread, we're going to be able to find a ton of games that had a bigger point spread, but I don't think that really the point spread was 24.5. So there are a lot of games. Yeah, like the monumental aspect of this upset is way bigger than the point spread.
Yeah, because that Stanford team, I would argue, is better than this UCLA team.
Oh yeah, the Stanford team was better. Obviously, Harbaugh, we saw that the next couple of years, he built them into a really good team, and also the nature of the point spread was built on a couple things. Number one, Penn State had to travel to the West Coast. Number two, just Vegas thinking Penn State was going to play a conservative game, win 30-7 or something like that, and just kind of like go in there and, just sleepwalk through a 3-touchdown win and get out of there. Just like they did against UCLA last year. They only beat UCLA 27-11 last year. Now that UCLA team was better, but Penn State pretty much played like a walk through the park kind of game. So
I think Penn State's worse. I think Penn State's worse this year. Actually, I don't even think. I think that's just. I think that's the conclusion at this point. Somehow they're worse.
Yeah, they are. They have to be based on that performance. Football games are long games. Like for you to lose in an upset fashion, it's not like a basketball game, a college basketball game where somebody gets hot for 10 or 15 minutes and the half's over in like 35 minutes. And one team could be much better, but be losing by 5 points at halftime. And before you know it, there's 10 minutes left in the game and they're looking at an upset. It's football games are long games. So you've got a lot of time to come back and straighten things out and get things worked out and beat down an inferior team. Yeah, that's inexplicable. Now we will see what UCLA does after this and Penn State, but we'll see if UCLA just goes back into the mode that it's been in for the first 4 or 5 games of the season, then it's going to be really strange. But I can't compare it. I will have to give that a lot
App
of
State.
And
I think App State's incomparable.
App State and Michigan. So,
but it was App State that year better than you. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, was App State that year better?
Yeah, because they were probably winning an FCS championship or close to it. And that Michigan team was number 5 in the country, but that was a season opener. They were a good Michigan team. They actually beat Florida in the Capital One Bowl that year, but they were 9-4. They were about the 15th best team in the country. This Penn State team is supposed to be a national championship contender. Supposed to be. Yeah. It's
up there, man. It might be top 3 if I'm being honest with you. It might be top 3 all the time. I'm not even joking because Penn State fans, man, I can't even imagine what they're going through right now because this pretty much to me ends their season. It ends their season. They're not beating Ohio State. That's not happening. This Penn State team is not beating Ohio State, and that's 3 losses. You got 3 losses. You're not even going to the playoffs. It's over. It's literally over, Mark.
The other thing about this upset, Michigan, man, is that it kind of defines who Penn State is. They've taken this ineptitude to like They went from we beat everyone who's decent and we win all our games, and then we can't beat an elite team to like dropping off a cliff to lose to arguably the worst team in the country in the power conferences. And I just, when I was thinking of upsets, there wasn't this kind of embarrassment factor. Sure, in the moment, Michigan losing to App State was an embarrassment, but over the course of the entire, like, this is the culmination of this narrative that's been going on for 7 or 8 years about this program.
Yeah, and then you add in the expectations before the season, bringing everybody back, getting Jim Knowles as a defensive coordinator. I mean, you just layer it. You could just layer it. This upset's going around for a long time. Just real quick, I'm gonna go to another game. Washington, I think, came back from a 20-point deficit in the fourth quarter, which is crazy. I need to go back because I didn't watch that game. I saw they were down like 20 nothing or something, and they came back and won. And I was like, I think they had a 21-point fourth quarter.
They did. And I did not see any of that either. And I mentioned that as being one of the games. If I could only watch one game in the Big Ten today, it would have been Michigan State, Nebraska. I was saying that over and over and over, but I didn't even watch that game. I was watching the SEC games at 3:30. But I thought that would be an interesting game. I took Maryland in the points, but I did take Washington to win. And Washington comes back and wins that game. I do think they're a better team than Maryland, but that looked like it was an entertaining game.
Yeah, and then Texas, Mark. I just don't think Texas is that good, Mark.
No, I watched that entire game. They were not a good football team today. Arch Manning.
I don't think they're that good of a football team. Period.
Arch Manning is a mystery. He threw about 5 balls. Remember in the Ohio State game, he was lousy the whole game, and then the last 2 drives, he threw like 3 balls that were like NFL caliber. Today, he would throw he would throw like 3 or 4 that were just a complete mystery, like ducks, like horrible. And then he would throw like 3 or 4 that were dimes. And he would just go back and forth. And that's obviously not good enough. He went 16-29, and that's about what he did. I don't remember there being a lot of drops.
Those interceptions were terrible.
Oh, those interceptions were terrible.
Terrible interceptions.
Yeah, one
of them. Triple coverage.
Yes. He didn't see the safety on one of them. He just didn't read the coverage, and the safety just baited him. And then the other one, he just overthrew the dude down the seam by a mile, and the safety was just standing there. The ball hit him right in the chest.
Yeah. So I just don't think they're. I mean, they struggle. What was that? What was the team they were struggling with for like 3.5 quarters? That's like it was San 2 weeks ago. San Jose. No, I think it was the week after that.
Or was it UTEP?
Was it? It was UTEP. So look, man, I just don't think I think they got a few more losses on their schedule. I think Oklahoma's gonna. Well, that's gonna be interesting because of the quarterback situation.
Yeah,
but I can see Oklahoma whooping them too. Honestly.
Yeah.
And clearly, and this is coming from a Michigan fan, now that they gave up 29 to Florida, who's also not a good team, by the way. Florida's a terrible team. Ohio State's by far clearing away the number 1 defense in the country at this point in the season. There's not even a debate to be had about that. The gap is like huge, in my opinion, defensively from any other team. I'm sure you agree with that.
I do. I hate to say that anything's the best by far, especially after 5 games. Like, I hate to say anybody's the best quarterback or the best offense or the best defense, but that would be my ranking right now. But if somebody wanted to argue with me, I wouldn't think it was a ridiculous argument if somebody wanted to say, well, who would they say at this point? Man, yeah, after watching Texas today, like they got DJ Lagway back on track. They did.
That's what I'm saying.
And Florida pushed them around. The offensive line was really good for Florida. They pushed them around, and that Florida's offense scored single digits against Miami and LSU, pretty much against South Florida, 15 points. So,
like Mark, honestly, I'd be surprised, and Michigan fans in the Moose are going to hate. I'm just a realist. the field this year, and maybe this is a trend at this point, that it's parity, the fields in terms of like, not really having elite teams, but the field to me is so competitive. You could call it weak, but I would just say competitive. Ohio State has an amazing chance to go back to back. There's not really a team there's not one team I watch and I'm like, man, I would hate to play them. Miami's pretty good, but even then I'm like, there's not. Can you name the team that you watch at this point of the season that you're like, man, I would hate to play that team?
Well, I think Ohio State's the best team, but they're not showing the explosiveness on offense that they usually do. Now that's slowly being developed, and Ryan Day's slowly opening up the playbook. So we may see that, but they don't have the running back. This Bo Jackson's a good back, but I don't put him in the Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson.
Yeah, he's not a Justice Haynes or nothing like that.
No.
But what I'm saying is, like, outside of Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Is there one team you watch and like, man, I would hate to play that team?
Well, this is the comment I made before the season started, was that I didn't say that Ohio State was definitely the best team in the country, but they were the surest thing. When you have that argument the first 2 weeks, like, well, they beat them, but how good are they? And LSU beat Clemson, but now we find out Clemson's not that good. When we have that constant, like, what win really matters or means something, and we got to see it continue to play out, that I was the surest, and I still am, about Ohio State being one of the best teams. Like if you told me Georgia's going to lose 3 games, I'd say, okay. Alabama's going to lose 3 games, I'd say, okay. You could tell me anybody's going to lose 3 games right now, and I would say, okay, maybe not Oregon, but that would have to do with their schedule more than anything, except Ohio State. That would be the team that I would say, I'll be shocked if they're not in the shocked is a strong word, but surprised if they're not in the semifinals of the CFP.
Yeah, and the remainder of Ohio State's schedule is literally a cakewalk. Like they don't. Now people are going to say Michigan, and that's the last thing I'm going to address. Michigan. Last year you could call it a miracle that Michigan won that game. It pretty much was that Michigan won that game. I don't think 2 miracles are going to happen, Mark. And this Michigan, and let me just get on this, and then I can get out of here after I talk about my team. Michigan, man, it's a talented team that has poor coaching, Mark. They just do things that a team that's not coached at an elite level does. They got the talent. The talent's there. You know what I'm saying? The talent's there. It's just they just do dumb things. Like I thought the defense outside of the first drive played really well.
Oh yeah.
But offensively, what are we doing, man? Like, what are we doing? I don't get it. I just don't get it. The receivers drop pass. Now, I like what I saw out of Mark. Did you watch that game at all?
Yep, I did.
I liked, I like what we saw out of Marsh. I think, he looks the part. He's probably the first wide receiver since Roman Wilson that looks the part,
Yep.
But
Donovan McCulley's a good player.
He's good, but it's more the flow of this. You watch it, you just there's just something off about the offense. And I think it's a coaching thing. There's something like Andrew Sprague today. How many times did they play back a play and this guy doesn't even get hands on the defensive end? He's literally falling over on himself.
Yes.
There's just so many coaching things that, USC. Do you have thoughts on who you're gonna pick for that game if you haven't already? The USC game?
I think Michigan's a better team, but not by much. They're very different teams. That it's not quite to the extremes last year where Michigan was afraid to throw the ball and just rammed it down their throats, and USC's chucking it all over the place. It's going to be, and obviously Mayaba's a more mobile quarterback and presents that rather than Miller Moss, and it's going to be at the Coliseum. I think that's going to be. I can't wait to watch that game. I think that's going to be a very good game.
Yeah, I'm extremely nervous for that game because I am not confident. And look, USC is going to move the ball. I mean, that's just what USC does.
Yeah.
The question is, are we going to do anything consistently on offense? Are our receivers going to Samaj Morgan, for example? Samaj Morgan is not good for anything but a bubble screen. This guy cannot hold on, cannot catch the ball.
Yeah.
The one catch he had late in the game, he barely caught it and then fumbled the ball. It's it's frustrating, Mark, to watch this offense. It's like, and you know what's crazy is Sharon Moore comes back and it's like we lost the juice. There's no juice.
Well, the thing about Samaj Morgan, too, as you well know, the last drive of the first half, Michigan was in that mode where, okay, we're backed up in our own 10-yard line roughly. And so if we can break a play, we're going to go for it because we got like 35, 40 seconds and we got Zavada obviously kicking the field goals. So they throw that slant to Morgan. He's wide open, hits him right in the face mask, and he drops it. And that would have been a 25, 30-yard gain.
Yeah, and the thing is, Mark, is, people are talking about, Bryce's completion percentage. This team has 15 drop passes.
Yeah.
In 5 games.
Yeah.
15. That's 3 passes a game that get dropped.
Yeah, you should be about 7 or 8 right now. About half.
I mean, I think they lead the country in drop passes. I'm pretty positive they lead the country in drop passes. And drop passes are just drive killers. And last thing I'll say, and then I'll get out of here. Did you see on the 4th and 2, which was a bad snap, but on that 4th and 2, to me this was a red flag. Bryce Underwood's literally yelling at Sharon to go for it. Yelling at Sharon to go for it on that 4th.
I did not see that. I did not. I saw the play. I didn't notice.
Yeah, he's yelling at Sharon. Hey, man. And that almost tells me that I can't read minds, but the fact that he was doing that, it's almost like the team feels like he coaches scared. Like he's scared to go for plays. Most teams that want to win something on 4th and Ohio State on 4th and 2 inside the 30, they're going for that. They're going for that.
Yeah, I also think that that's the Michigan way. That's kind of the more we run the ball, we play defense, and we're not going to take. I know you're going crazy pulling your hair out after the Oklahoma game, but they really played to that extreme, thinking as long as we can keep it within a score, maybe something will happen that we can get back in the game. That they'll screw it up, and we can just be waiting for it. That's
my thing. Yeah, I agree.
Like that too.
He did up until the run we had. If you look at the 21 to 24 or 23 run, we went for 4th down a lot. Okay. We went for 4th down a lot. And my thing about going for, I'm not talking about going for 4th and 5, 4th and 4. My thing is going for those 4th and 2s and under. To me, those are character builders for a team. Now, you don't always have to go for it. But if you're 5 games into the season and you literally never go for it, that's a character builder in the wrong way. Go for it 5 out of 10 times. Go for it 4 out of 10 times. Go for it. My thing is, if you don't go for it at all and you do that over a course of a season, it's a character builder in the wrong sense. That's just my opinion about this stuff.
Gotcha.
All right, well, go Blue, man. Hopefully we beat USC. I don't want to say it. It's tough for me to say, but we might not make it 5 in a row this year, man. We might not. So, go Blue, and what a great football season. I'm loving the hate watching these teams get upset. And Franklin, hope you get a lifetime contract, buddy.
Thanks, man. All right, good stuff there. I don't understand comments like this, and we love Bama Fan being here. So, Bama Fan, we love you. Good to have you here. Penn State, same old pretenders, just like Oregon. Okay. Some of you have this mentality that if a school does not win a national championship, it's a pretender. Okay. Only one school wins the national championship every year. So Oregon has not failed to be a contender. Oregon is a contender. and they have been largely a contender in college football for 15 years. They've gone to Rose Bowls. They won Rose Bowls. They've won Pac-12 championships. They've played in a BCS championship game. They lost a BCS championship game, the national championship, on the last play of the game. They went to another national championship game 5 years later. Yeah, I would not compare Penn State's last 10 or 15 years to Oregon. Oregon is the epitome of a contender. They're not a champion, not a national champion. They are the reigning Big Ten champions. They have won championships, and they are a contender and have been a contender. All right. We got Rob stopping by. Rob, what's going on?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing great. Finally back to my place. Dog sitting is over, and so enjoyable day of college football. Despite the referees trying to absolutely shellac the Notre Dame Boise game. I don't know if you watched any of that game, but I hope you didn't for your own sake and mental health.
I did not.
Yeah, so they were basically calling penalties on darn near every play of the game, preventing either team from really getting into a flow, but that's especially painful for an offense like Notre Dame that's been crushing it late. Well, technically, Boise was putting up a lot of points too. I think they were like averaging over 50 points a game the last 3 games, but that was against, pretty meager competition. The point is, there was 24 penalties accepted. There was more flags thrown than that, but the total yardage for penalties was over 200 yards. It was awful to watch. It was a very sloppy game by Notre Dame, and they still covered the spread, won by 21, but I'm just glad that game's over with. Apologies to Boise State and fellow Notre Dame fans for having to watch that. At least I was a Notre Dame fan watching it, so I still had a dog in the fight. But if I was a casual college football team watching that game, I would have switched to something else. The refs just ruined that game.
Well, there was little else to watch tonight because I thought it was going to be a good night, but obviously Ohio State rolled, Miami rolled, Texas A&M rolled. I don't know that there were any. Texas Tech rolled over Houston. Don't think that there were really competitive games tonight.
Yeah, Commander Luke just said there was 40 plus flags thrown between Notre Dame and Boise State. 40 flags. Those, it was awful. It was awful, Mark. So, anyways, do yourself a favor. Don't go back and rewatch that game if you're going to watch any more football tonight. Just avoid that one like the plague. It was not a fun game to watch.
I will just check out the stats here.
Hodges says, didn't Notre Dame's running back get hurt? No. Jeremiah Love looked like he got hurt in the game, but he came back. He was just fine. He had over 100 yards, another touchdown or two. Like, he had a good game, so he's fine. And, I wanted to say, shout out to Leonard Moore finally getting to come back from the second quarter of that A&M game, which I believe if he had played the whole game against A&M, we wouldn't have lost. But he had another 2 interceptions today, proving that he's, if not the best cornerback in college football, certainly up there. Top 5, no doubt. So, hey, if you have a terrible game, you still win by 21 against a decent Boise team. That's not bad. But more importantly, Penn State and Texas, like, I know like you have your own top 25 that makes sense, but where would you place Penn State and Texas now? Now, keep in mind, Notre Dame lost to Miami, which is, I think, the AP number 3 right now by 3 points at Miami. And they lost a game they should have won against Texas A&M, but whatever. They lost that one by 1 point. So 4 points combined to 2 top 10 teams. Both of those teams had a great night tonight. Well, Miami started to try to give that game away at the end, but that was never really close. But Notre Dame got punished hard. Obviously, they fell to like in the low 20s. Where do you think Penn State and Texas should fall?
Well, in my rankings, so all 3 of those teams were between 20 and 25. I don't remember where they were this past week, but roughly 21, 22, 23, something in that range. They were almost lined up in that range. So obviously I was honoring that Penn State played Oregon to overtime, that Notre Dame played the 2 games that you just mentioned down to the wire, the last play, and that Texas played the number 1 team in the country on the road and lost by a score. That's basically what we had. We had no good wins out of any of those teams, and that's what we had for losses. Well, now that Penn State has lost to UCLA, forget them. Penn State is going to have to win a slew of games to get back into my top 25. I got to think. Now, when I answer that, I can't answer that in a vacuum because I don't know how everybody else is going to shake out. But Penn State's not going to be in my top 25, not even close. They will not be considered at all.
Right.
Texas is probably not going to get considered, even though I think Florida is a decent team. This is their first win. Substantial win. So I don't think Texas is going to be ranked. Notre Dame was like 21 last week, so they're going to improve most likely on that for me.
Right.
I can't speak to the national polls. I can't imagine what was Penn State? They dropped from like 3 to 7.
Oh, were they 7? I thought they were 9. Or
Whatever.
No, that was Texas, right?
I
no,
don't
Texas
know.
was 9.
I don't look at the polls, so I'm just guessing. The only reason I know the rankings is because I see the numbers on the screen, on the TV screen. And I think I thought they were 7, whatever it is.
Yeah, you might be right. I think, yeah.
They have no business being ranked at all.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, I think if anything, hopefully the AP does the right thing and puts them at best, they should be like bottom 25. But I don't think they should be ranked either, to be honest. I mean, I've said
you beat 3 of the worst teams in the country. You lost to Oregon's the best performance by far. And so that's one data point of credibility that you lost to a top 5 team in the country in overtime, but then you lost to probably the worst team in power conference football. Yeah, I don't know how you get ranked that way.
Yeah. I just, you know what, Mark, and I've said this, and I've called in several times, and I've said I thought Texas was overrated. I thought Penn State was overrated, and I sure as heck thought LSU was overrated. And those are all playing out to a fairly substantial degree. I mean, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to fall for LSU to really get exposed. I don't think they're going to beat another good team this year, like competitive, like contender this year anyways. They should be falling out pretty soon as well. But yeah, I did not, even with that, I did not expect Penn State to lose to UCLA. That was something, and Texas losing to Florida. I mean, you could kind of see that because at least Florida's got a good defense. But Texas made their offense look decent. It's just, I don't get that. I don't get either one, but especially Penn State. But yeah, that was a pretty enjoyable watch to see those teams that I've been pounding the table saying they're overrated. Okay, so I'll let you go, or I hate when people say I'll let you go. It's your show. You get to let us go. But I'll get off here in a second, Mark. I just wanted to shout out a comment. Mark says Miami is overrated too, and I have to strongly disagree with that. Miami probably has the best resume in the country right now, and I don't think it's all that close.
Where's this comment? Oh, okay, Mark. When you say Mark,
not you.
I thought you were referring to somebody else telling what I thought. Okay.
No. No. I don't know who this other Mark is, but he's an imposter, I guess. But no, Miami's not overrated. They are pretty freaking good. So
yeah. I had them number 1 in the country, and most likely what they did tonight will keep them there. I can't think of anybody else that did anything substantial enough to surpass that. When you think that they've beaten Florida State, Florida, South Florida, and Notre Dame, they've got 4 substantial wins.
Yeah. Nobody has the quality of wins that Miami has at this moment. Not from top to bottom, the breadth of wins that they have. And Miami going into Florida State, and beating, like kind of demolishing them for 3 quarters and then kind of let off the gas a little bit at the end. I mean, you remember Alabama got destroyed by the same FSU team at Florida State. So let's not just jump to conclusions saying that Miami's overrated. They've got a great resume. But anyways, Mark, I'll get off here. I know you got other callers. Always great talking to you, and thank you for putting up with that. Some of those callers the other day questioning your top 25 because they don't know how to listen to your diatribe at the beginning of those videos. So,
thanks, Rob. Appreciate it, man.
See you.
So I'll respond to Mark here real quick. So he says, Mark, my words, the real Mark, Miami will not make it to the Final Four. And I'm not going to argue that they may not. I'm just saying based on their resume right now, you may not think that they're the best team in the country or a top 5 team. I don't believe they're the best team in the country, but I just believe they've got the best resume with the most substantial wins. I would not be surprised either way. If you told me Miami is going to make the Final Four in the country, I could see it. Of course, nothing in their coach's history or in their history, recent history, would tell us that should be counted upon in any way. So I'm not banking on it, but I would not be surprised one way or the other. I think they're going to be in that range. All right, let's keep it rolling here at the Voice of College Football. We got Michael on the line. Michael.
Hey, Mark. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm still trying to keep my composure from this afternoon. The second quarter absolutely stunk for Purdue today.
Yeah, I was watching the game.
I don't really want to get into it because some things should have happened but didn't happen. But anyway, I digress. I got to ask you this. I was just looking at Penn State's schedule earlier and just talking to some people in different streams. Could they end up going? I think they could end up being 6-6 because their back half of the schedule is not going to be too easy.
Well, I don't have it right in front of me, but they've got a trip to Columbus, of course.
Yeah,
they've lost 2 games. They've got Indiana at home. They got a trip to Iowa, so there's 5 losses right there.
Maybe sure. Michigan State.
Well, we just saw them lose to UCLA. Nothing's off the table now. They could lose to anybody.
Yeah.
They just lost to the worst team in power conference play.
And I'm like, what?
Up until tonight, they were.
I'm like, what the heck happened and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My goodness, did they like forget to make the trip out to Los Angeles?
Well, somebody threw on their uniforms.
Yeah, that was like Purdue in the second quarter, but I digress about that. So, man, oh my God, at least it wasn't a total blowout. But anyway, impressions of the Vanderbilt Alabama game today.
Well, I was impressed with Alabama. I saw most of that game, and Vandy came out strong. But Alabama's defense really poured it on after the first couple drives of the game. They shut out Vandy. They made life miserable on Diego Pavia and chased him around. And they bottled up the run game. They did everything right. They played an extremely strong game. Ty Simpson looked great.
Yeah,
this is a force to be reckoned with. Alabama's, I'm not going to say that they're like the old Alabama by any stretch, but they're a top 10 team, legitimately.
Even though I think next week's game, it's not going to be an easy game, but I think they beat Missouri, but no. Anyway, what was I going to say? Not only can play, and I'm not a Bama fan, and I would have to give them. I give the defense today great amount of today, and for the offense to be minus because they got bogged down in the red zone. They've been getting bogged down in the red zone lately.
Yeah,
and settling for field goals.
True.
But I don't know and stuff like that. I see it was a bludgeoning for Minnesota, which is not surprising. Ohio State, do they get Penn State next week, or who's Ohio State got next week?
They go to Illinois.
Oh yeah, that's right. That might be interesting. I don't know. Interesting game, or do you think it'll be Ohio State just pretty much do whatever they want?
Well, I don't think they're going to be able to do whatever they want, but I would expect them to take care of Illinois something in the fashion that they took care of Washington. I think they're in for a fight, and they're going to have to play on point. But I would think that they can win that game by anywhere from 2 to 3 touchdowns.
And I'm just like trying to figure out what Purdue, man. And like the defense is like, oh my God, the defense is like, quit play like the zone or the zone defense and just like that. Stay with the receiver, don't get sucked up and stuff like that. But it is what it is, though. And Allmeyer had 2 career best games against Purdue. the last 2 years.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh man, but no, I gotta ask you this though. I know Purdue's kind of and yeah, the 2 fumbles didn't help either and stuff like that. But I want to ask you this: in the year plus you've seen Ryan Brown, what's your impressions of him?
I can't say that anything really stands out positively or negatively. I thought he played rather well today, from what I remember. The last chance that they had to do anything when they were still down only 2 scores in the last 3 or 4 minutes, he put it right on the receiver on a slant on a 4th down and 5, and the ball was dropped.
There was like a lot of drop passes today.
Yeah. So 30 for 50. No quarterback should be throwing the ball 50 times. That's your giveaway right there to things not going well. Although at 6 yards per carry and throwing 30 for 50 for 302, offense was not their issue today other than the turnovers.
Mm-hmm. Because when you see numbers
I think he's a decent quarterback.
Because when you see like 50, it kind of reminds me of Joe Tiller's offense back when he was at Purdue, when they was just like throwing it around and stuff like that. But I mean, like the running game and stuff like that, they did. Even though I did catch the running back numbers and stuff like that. I think they was around like 67. The run still was hurting Purdue though, man. If they can get the running game going, hopefully they can be better. But no, I just wonder how it's going to be next week when Purdue goes up to Minneapolis.
Well, they've got a shot to win.
Yeah. I don't know, stuff like that. But no, what was it? I didn't really I didn't watch the game. Did you watch the Ohio State game or did you watch the Miami-Florida State game tonight?
I was trying to watch both of them.
What was it? Someone said PJ Fleck was doing something inside on Ohio side of the field, like punt inside the 30 or inside the 40.
Inside the 30 or 40.
It was like the 4th and 1. They punted the ball away.
Yeah, they did. I didn't remember them being that close.
Or I guess it would have been made much of a difference right now. But
no, they could have brought an entirely different team with NFL players. It wasn't going to make a difference. They got blown out.
And is this saying, in your opinion, is saying better than Mendoza?
Well, Mendoza's got more of a track record, so we can trust him more than Julian Sayin at this point. But Sayin's got more elite weapons surrounding him. They both have excellent offensive lines.
Yeah.
But, I think it's a pretty comparable comparison right now. I'm not going to say one's better than the other at this point, except that Mendoza is more of a proven commodity.
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think, who's that primary wide receiver for Jeremiah
Smith.
Okay. Why do people think discounting Elijah Surratt for?
Who are people?
There's some people saying Surratt's he's okay, but he's not like Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State.
Basically, because he's not.
But I mean, are they putting up similar numbers though each week?
Well, yeah, putting up numbers and the opportunities are two different things. Ohio State's nursing a redshirt freshman quarterback along.
Okay.
So they're not putting up the kind of numbers that Dwayne Haskins and Justin Fields and CJ Stroud posted.
No, I'm not talking about the quarterback. I'm talking about.
I know you're not talking about the quarterbacks, but the receivers' numbers go along with the quarterback's numbers. And if Jeremiah Smith was around in 2017, 18, 19, 20, in that range, 21, 22, playing for those offenses, then his numbers would be ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah, they're playing conservatively because they got a young quarterback and they've got probably the best defense in the country. So they have no reason to just haphazardly throw the ball everywhere. They're not beating Maryland 52-51 like they did in 2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Where they need their offense to have that kind of heavy lift.
Mm-hmm. So would you say? I mean, would you say IU, Oregon, and Ohio State's best three defenses in the Big Ten right now? Or do you think IU's defense might be better than Oregon's?
Well, after what Penn State went through today, yeah, I guess we would have to kick them out of there. But from a talent perspective, I'd put Penn State in there, and I'd put Michigan in there.
Okay. But we'll learn. I guess we'll learn more about IU next week when they go to.
And let's not
UG.
forget about Iowa.
Yeah.
Look at what Iowa did against Indiana's defense or Indiana's offense.
Yeah, sure. Fair point. Yeah, I was just wondering stuff. I was just getting stuff like.
All right, Michael.
All right, I appreciate it, man.
Being here.
Yep, see ya.
All right, let's keep it moving. CJ stopping by. CJ, what's going on?
How you doing, Mark?
I am doing great. How are you?
I got lots of problems with some of them people that have been calling your show tonight.
Oh boy.
I wanna start with something before we get into that. All right. I want to tell your little Notre Dame guy that called in, if y'all got a problem with 250 penalty yards, maybe you play a little more discipline. All right. Don't be blaming the Zebras just because y'all team ain't disciplined. I want to say that first. All right. So them Broncos and them Fighting Irish just need to get in the film room and work on discipline and work on coaching. All right. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing I have to say, and I just want to say this right now. What's the score on that Cal Duke game? Are we got a final on that one yet?
We do not have a final. Let me.
By the way, I'm seeing this in the chat, and I got some concerns, but I want to know, why is Chris Foote in the chat saying that you make fun of him and he can't call in because you make fun of him?
I have no idea what he's
What
talking
is that about?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have never been anything but a gentleman.
Okay,
here.
I didn't know. I just saw that in the chat, and I don't want no slander in your chat, Mark. So, all right. So we still a halftime out in Cal. What a weird situation to have a team from North Carolina having to play out in the West Coast at, what is that, like midnight 30 Eastern time, and we just at halftime. What a miserable game for Duke fans to have to endure, and that's against a Cal team that got the pants pulled down to South Dakota State, if I'm not mistaken, or San Diego.
Fresno State.
Fresno State. All right.
You keep going back to that game, but this Cal team, if they can come back and win, now they were up. I think they were up 21-7. If not, look at the second quarter scoring. Duke scored 24. It was 21-7. Cal was on its way to going to 5-1.
And I do want to say one thing about Penn State. I think you and your little buddy boy up there from Michigan need to give a little more credit to the UCLA Bruins, because there is such a thing as sometimes playing better than your record shows. And let's just be real about something now, Mark. They had a coaching change, and I'll tell you what's that head coach's name? Is it Skipper Jones? Am I right on that? Is it Skipper Jones?
You know what? I'm drawing a blank, and I just mentioned his name in the video. Tim Skipper.
Chris Foote's calling me a moron. Chris, you come up here right now. You want to get tough. You want to get rough. You get on the line right now, and we'll duke it in. But you know you won't, because you just a coward. You won't do it. I get it. It's easy to be a tough guy, just like that Tim Prangley likes to be a tough guy. You try to be a tough guy in the chat, Chris, but we know you ain't coming nowhere, so it's all right. You go and talk your trash.
Robert is guessing that this call is coming in from the West Coast.
West Coast? Well, I stay up late no matter where I live. I don't need to be giving away no identifying marks, Mark, and no pun intended there. So anyways, I had a couple other things, but I don't know if I got time for them, and I don't know that you got time for them. Why is KC Kane fan calling me a troll? I don't understand. I've been nothing but respectful to y'all, Mark, and you know that. And I do nothing but defend you, all right? I mean, I don't like that Tim Prangley, that tough guy. But, he ain't been around lately, so I don't know. I will say this. I haven't heard you talk about that Cincy game, that early game there over on the ESP2. That Cincy game, that early one on that ESP2.
I have not discussed that one. I did not take in the game. And can you believe I picked Iowa State to win that game? And I felt very confident. And
I saw, of course, I'm in your Discord and I got your picks because I basically signed up for everything you offer, Mark, and you know that. So, but anyways, I got your picks from your guy Matt Zimick and from your guy Steve Deese, and I got your Corey Breda as well. And then of course you got all those great record picks for your spread. So I did see your pick. I see most of your guys' picks, but here's what I'll tell you right now. Yeah. And this is the principle I'll give you. This is my word. This is CJ's words of wisdom on a late Saturday night or Sunday morning if you're on the East Coast. I'll tell you this right now. When you're the underdog, I don't care since he was a 1.5 point favorite. If you're the underdog, which I think most people realize they were, and UCLA was, if you're the underdog going into a game like that, especially if you're at home, if you get a little bit of life early in one of them ball games, horses is out running, Mark. And we saw that in that one against Iowa State. You get down early, things can snowball. And I'd say the same thing about UCLA. I don't think you're giving them enough credit. I don't think you're giving that new staff enough credit. I don't think you're giving Nico enough credit. And I don't think you giving the whole time zone change enough credit. That's still a Big Ten football team, Mark. So I don't want to hear this crap about how Penn State's done and how they're done. And Michigan guy saying they're not going to make the play. You don't know that. Y'all don't know that. So I may
actually do a little research on this Big Ten time zone traveling record and how this plays out, because we're into 2 seasons now in the Big Ten with all this travel back and forth, and see how that plays out. Washington went out to Maryland. Did you see that? Scored 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter.
I did, but I saw them get down early. I saw them getting in a hole early. Got to give them credit, good coaching. And look, you know what you did? You know what Iowa State did? They traveled out east, played Cincinnati in a different time zone. They got down early, tried to come back. They couldn't. You see Penn State having to travel time zones. They get down early. They come back. They couldn't complete it. Same thing with what? You see a trend here?
Did you just bring up Iowa State traveling to Cincinnati?
It's a different time zone, Mark. You don't understand.
Well, I'm not going to go looking for every time zone change. I'm talking about extreme time zone changes, CJ.
But the bottom line is, when you travel, all right, and you going on the road, I'm just saying, look at I run the numbers, just like your Chris Foote run the numbers. I run the numbers. And the bottom line is, when you travel and you crossing time zones and you going into those atmospheres, you tend to get down early. Okay. Look at all of those teams we just talked about, Mark. Penn State, they almost came back against UCLA. Washington did come back. Iowa State almost came back. You think this is a coincidence?
Run those time zone numbers on Ohio State. See how well they do 2 and 3 time zones away.
Look at Duke. Duke was down early, and then Cal Bears, they're back. I'm sorry. I have that mixed up. Am I right? No, Cal was up early, and Duke's come back.
Yeah. So they get off the slow starts. The teams that travel. That's your hypothesis.
I just don't think you're being fair to Penn State. That's what I'd say. I don't think you're giving UCLA enough credit, and I think you're making a mountain out of a molehill over one game, Mark. I mean, I expect that out of your Michigan buddy boys, but I expect better out of you, the voice of I'm sorry, let's see if I can get this one out. Voice of CFB. I expect better out of you. I'll say that. But, again, I still support everything you do. I'm going to defend you in your chat. I've teased this for a while now. I'll keep supporting you on Discord. And, of course, I'm a premium member here on the YouTube. I don't often use the premium account, so you don't see that pretty little star next to my name. But I support you every way I can.
I appreciate it.
And, I keep supporting you. One of these days, I'm going to drop a pretty little super chat in there for you. That's coming. So you just keep doing what you're doing. You keep these late night shows going on. I'll be here all year long, Mark. And you let that tough guy Tim Prangley know I'm still waiting for him. I hadn't talked to him since that loss up there in Champaign. I told you I was going to wait for him. I was going to wait for that loss, Mark, and I haven't seen him or heard from him. I'm waiting for him in the chat. You let him know I'm there.
Well, next week, 2 of your favorite teams get together when USC hosts Michigan.
That's going to be a game, Mark.
That's going to be a heck of a game.
That's going to be a game. It's a Coliseum, right?
Which also leads me to wonder how the folks in Iowa, there's this strange little rivalry between Iowa and Penn State. I wonder how they enjoyed that game at the Rose Bowl this afternoon.
What game? Which game were you talking about?
Anybody who roots for Iowa, and maybe Kirk Ferentz, since he has such a loving relationship with James Franklin, how he enjoyed that game since he had the week off.
Well, I heard those guys over there on that Iowa channel, and I heard them talking about Kirk Ferentz' least favorite coaches. And I'm pretty sure your cue ball friend up there in Minneapolis was on that list, and the cue ball out there in State College was on that list as well. So I think it was a pretty good day on the bye week for them Hawkeyes.
My buddy PJ had a rough go tonight.
Your buddy PJ did have a rough go tonight.
But that's a difficult assignment. I don't know what he ever did to get the Big Ten mad at him, but it seems like they give him the toughest schedule. They give him difficult schedules.
Well, I'll tell you something. Well, he didn't have a difficult schedule for all those years in the Big Ten West now, Mark. Now, did he? I don't want to hear that nonsense. You defending that cue ball friend. He didn't have a difficult schedule for all those years. And how many Big Ten West titles he win?
I think he's still at 0.
That's right. He's at 0. So I don't want to hear no excuses. Hey, he and your buddy Franklin should be on the hot seat now, Mark.
Hot seat?
They're going to be on the hot seat by season's end. You know that.
I don't think that's going to happen. They're happy to have PJ.
Oh, okay. You tell me how it is then.
James Franklin's another matter. I posted a video about James Franklin possibly being on the hot seat and what Penn State should do.
What they lose, I do think people overreact into one game now. All right. I do think people overreact into one game. I don't think people who sit back on their couches and break down games like UCLA and Penn State realize how football works. And I don't think they realize when you get down on the road against a team with Division I athletes, Big Ten athletes like UCLA has, things can somersault. It don't mean you're a crappy team. It just means you had a bad day. And I heard you made some comment earlier about how football's a long game and they got thoroughly done. They almost came back, Mark. They almost came back.
They were practically playing a high school team.
Why do you see? I don't understand why you got to say stuff like that, Mark. I don't get it.
Just trying to drive home the point that Penn State has no business losing to UCLA after UCLA loses to New Mexico State by 25 points, and UNLV can't beat Northwestern, can't beat anyone.
I agree. I agree.
Embarrassment.
I agree they had no business losing to them, but I'm also just saying UCLA still got a bunch of high major athletes on that team.
They do. They do. And if you would have told me before the season started, Penn State's going to lose at UCLA, I would have said, okay, I don't see that happening, but it wouldn't have shocked me. But considering what UCLA's looked like the first 5 games, yeah, this one's hard to top. It's tough to go down through history, of which I'm pretty decent at, and think of more shocking, and not just based on the point spread. The point spread was 24, and that happens a couple times a season where there's that big of a point spread upset. But it's more about the narrative of this team underachieving over and over and over and over, and that's usually against the elites. They can't beat the elites, but now they just bottom out and lose to.
I heard your guy Michigan man say this might be one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport. I mean, come on, man. You're prisoner of the moment. Don't be comparing this nonsense to. No, don't be comparing this.
I'm not the prisoner.
I don't want to hear that nonsense.
I am not. I am not a prisoner of the moment.
They are. You and I both know it ain't nothing like App State, Michigan. Come on now.
You can objectively say that this is one of the biggest upsets in modern college football history.
I'm not going to acknowledge none of that. I acknowledge it's the biggest upset of the season so far. I acknowledge that.
Okay. All right, CJ.
They crossed three time zones against a fellow Big Ten conference team and lost by 1 score.
Well, the way you're talking, we should start giving these teams that travel like an extra touchdown. They should start the game out 7-0.
I basically think that's what's happening. You look at the data there, I may run that through. Maybe me and Chris Foot will team up and we'll run that data for you, and we'll come back next week with it.
you and Chris Foote would be a phenomenal team.
Well, Chris Foote,
a force to be reckoned with.
I see him in the chat, and he just likes to trash talk in the chat. So I guess it's just going to be me calling him. But Mark,
would not want to deal with you two putting together a college football knowledge base.
Well, I appreciate the friendly debate, Mark. I'm going to let you get on to bigger and better callers. You know I love you. You keep up the good fight, brother. And again, you know I'm going to be dropping one of them fancy little super chats in there for you. Just keep up the hard work now, Mark.
Appreciate you, CJ. All right. We will keep it rolling here at the Voice of College Football. We got one of those fancy little green banners here, courtesy Doreen. And the lovely Doreen and the lovely Minnie get together on Sunday nights. And of course, they display their fun football knowledge for you. And we have a great little show with those two. It's the Ladies of College Football. And that's at 9 p.m. Eastern time right here at the Voice of College Football. Again, that's on Sunday nights. So you're a mere 20 hours away, something like that. And if you haven't noticed, I am kind and gracious enough to be working overtime tonight. And we'll take the 3 calls on the line. You guys make the decision. I'll take the 3 calls on the line, or I will stay here for as long as you want me to stay here. You guys make the decision. But we got Kai stopping by. Kai, what's going on?
Hey, Mark. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. So I don't think my question can be answered, but after 6 weeks of the season, if you had to put 12 teams into the playoff, who would they be?
So are you asking me to rank the 12 best teams in the country or the 12 teams that deserve it based on their resumes?
Whichever one you would like to pick, I guess.
Okay. I will tell you who I believe are the 12 best teams in the country, because I'm in the process of actually pulling up my top 25 that actually makes sense. That's a week old. So that would obviously need to be adjusted. So your 12 best teams in college football are, not in order, Ohio State, Miami 2, Ole Miss 3, Oklahoma 4, Texas A&M 5, Oregon 6, Missouri 7, I would say Indiana 8, Georgia Tech 9, Missouri 10. I'm probably missing somebody there. I got 2 more, and I'm gonna grab the Big 12 is difficult to sort out, but I'm gonna go with Texas Tech. And I'm going to go with 12 best teams in college football. One more.
Bama.
Who did I not? Oh, Alabama. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
There's your 12.
Okay. If you were to say the team that could potentially fall off a cliff out of those 12 teams, who do you think it is? Or who's the pretender?
Who's the pretender out of those 12? Well, Georgia Tech would be the obvious choice. I don't know that they've proven anything. They're just undefeated right now, and they haven't slipped up. But out of teams that we expect to be really good, if Texas Tech played in another conference, I would love to see that, because they could roll through the Big 12 and we could really not know that much about them. And they did not play a decent opponent in non-conference play. So they would be the other candidate for me. I feel very confident that the rest of those teams are legitimate. I don't know if I picked up on Georgia. I would throw them in there somewhere.
I think you did pick them.
I would say that, yeah, I have seen enough and know enough about all the teams that I listed in the Big Ten and the SEC to tell you that they are quality teams, and we've seen enough out of Miami to know that they are as well. And I actually think Notre Dame's one of the 12 best teams in the country, but I would not select them for a playoff right now.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, Kai. Anything else for me?
I don't believe so. Hawaii was on a bye, so I can't really talk about them.
Okay. Thanks for being here, man.
Yep. Thanks.
All right. Our buddy Kai stopping by, as is Hall of Fame Trey. Trey, what you got going on tonight?
Hey, what's up, Mark? How you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm all right. It's crazy week of football once again. It reminds me of 2007. Maybe it gets to that point of 2007. We haven't got those rankings of South Florida and Boston College at 2 and 3 yet. We're waiting for
the difference between now and 2007 would be we've got open slots to fill. So in 2007, if we had a 12-team playoff, we wouldn't necessarily be looking back at 2007 saying, boy, that was a crazy year, because it's virtually impossible. If you do the work in reverse engineering style and figure out and look at 2007 as I have and say, who should have played in the national championship game? Because there's no right answer. You got a zillion one-loss teams.
Yep.
But if we had 12 teams that can make a playoff, then it becomes rather easy. You know, I'm not saying that there wouldn't have been decisions to make between 12 and 13, but we would have had spots for everyone.
It's like the feel of 2007 was there, man. You got a lot of upsets this year, and people are, I don't know if it's just me or I talked about it before, but there's a lot more willingness to hit in both NFL and college, because the last couple of years, it seemed like everybody was fucking scared to damn hit.
Okay.
Now they're really starting to hit this year. Every game I watch, someone's hitting pretty good. A memorable.
So let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
Yes.
So throughout the history of college and professional football, guys were hitting hard, and then about 5 years ago they decided not to hit.
It feels like I'm not. Yeah, everybody
this year they are hitting.
Oh man, everybody hits and tackles. I'm talking about really sticking it to them. You know, like I kind of like a Ray Lewis kind of hit. And they always do arm tackles. It seems like the last couple of years since COVID, it seems like the hitting gone down and the practices are different. But this year you can really feel some thump and some pride in these hits and making the tackle, want to make the tackle, not arm tackles and running out of bounds. It seems like the offense and the defense, quarterbacks are doing better. Running backs are way better of hitting and giving it to them too. It seems like the whole contact of being football is kind of getting back to it before 2020 in the COVID, Mark.
Okay. Well, I am not going to argue with your premise there, but I will say that I have not noticed any difference in the level of play or the intensity of play. And actually what you're saying would fly in the face of a lot of people's theory that since these guys are making money, that they would be apt to be less physical.
Yeah. I think, well, unless they have not guarantees, but what's that called? Initiatives? Do they have initiatives in their contracts, Mark?
Incentives?
Yeah, no. Incentives.
No.
But I know in the NFL they do. And
yes.
If you make 1,000 yards, you get paid more. Imagine. Yes, it's kind of weird, but it seems like they have more pride this year, Mark. They didn't have it the last 2 or 3 years. It seems like this year it's like everybody wants to win.
You and Minnie are seeing something that I'm not seeing. That Minnie says the same thing. I agree with the caller about hitting.
You look at the UCLA and Penn State, for example, Mark. If the last couple of years, from 2020 to 2024, people that go teams that go 0-4 usually give up around that time, and pack it in kind of stuff. They kind of like give up.
You have statistics to back this up.
No, it's just me just watching it over the years.
See, you have anecdotal evidence. So you understand when you come on here, Hall of Fame Trey, and I appreciate your opinion. I do appreciate it, but a lot of people have theories about things that they can't back up statistically. And I guarantee you that if I went through the last 5 years of college football, I would find plenty of upsets of, let's say, teams that were 1-7, 2-7, beating
I'm
teams
like,
that were 6-3.
Like basically packing it up. It's like for example, 2013 Florida. We were not very good. In 2013, we were 3-5, and it looked like Will Muschamp was about to get fired or whatever the next year.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, we have collapsed. Like there was no intensity. They lost to Vanderbilt, and they lost to Georgia Southern, and they pack it in. That's what I thought was going to happen to UCLA. I thought UCLA was just going to pack it in, 0-4, not going right. Nico not playing well, but all of a sudden they come out versus Penn State and they just win. Now, and that's what impressed me. But the last 4 years, a lot of teams seem like if they're getting a little bit in trouble, and it's 0-5, 1-4, not going the way they want to, it seems like they want to pack it in. Now Florida's not doing that. They beat Texas. I was surprised about it. A lot of these teams that seemed like they would pack it in normally in the way I look at it, and a lot of people, actually, it seems like it's changing. The intensity is getting better this year.
All we have to do is go back one season, and we'll see that Florida did the same thing.
Yeah, but we were 5-5 though, Mark.
3-5.
Well, we were 3-5, but you know what I mean, though.
No, I don't know what you mean. You said 5-5. They were 3-5, and they won their last 5 games of the season. So they had nothing to play for at 3-5, and they still went out and beat a top 10 Ole Miss team and a top 20 LSU team.
You don't think that a bowl game is nothing to play for?
For these kids now?
Yes.
Not really.
I mean, it's better than just stopping the season, just ending the season like, okay, 7-5, see you next year. I mean, you got want to play one more, don't you?
Well, if they go 7-5, they know they're going to a bowl game, or if they go 6-6, they didn't stop at 6-6. They went 7-5.
But they had something to prove, though. I mean, we beat Tulane too, so I think it matters. They could have packed it. Hey, they could have packed
an interesting philosophy there. I just don't think it holds water.
Come on, Mark. Now, come on. Now, a team. Now, if you're 3-5, 3-6, don't you think your team would actually lose hope?
No, we can see this. I could sit here all night and name games of teams that were 2-8, 2-9 that pulled off upsets. Let's understand first and foremost that those teams statistically aren't going to win most games anyway. So those games are rare, but they're just as rare and will be this season as any other season. In 2021, 22, Iowa was playing for the Big Ten championship game, and Nebraska was 2-9. Who won the game? Nebraska.
Nebraska. They sure did. And that was impressive, too.
So you have an interesting theory that suddenly these kids care this year, and they didn't care for about 5 years. But they cared before that, and now they care again.
I mean, it could be like, hey, this is just the way I'm seeing it. Maybe people getting soft. It seems like they're getting soft, Mark. Come on, you can't say you can't see it.
Well, people are getting soft. There's no doubt about that. I don't think that ended this year.
But this year seems like it's better than what it was. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the best times in college football was the 2000s. I mean, we had some good times.
According to who?
Huh?
According to who?
To me, to a lot of people. The 2007, 08, 09.
Okay, you're stating an opinion.
Yes,
that's fine.
And a lot of people, though. A lot of people. It's factual.
And a lot of people. Do you know something that I can guarantee?
They said the best season ever was 2007. Mark.
Who said that?
Everybody. A lot of people.
Everybody says that 2007 is the best season in college football.
It's the most craziest season and the most memorable. When you talk about
the best season is not necessarily the craziest season. And I just explained why it was a crazy season. If that same season took place now, it would not necessarily be considered that crazy of a season because we would have a playoff spot for all those teams. So we wouldn't be like trying to decide who's going to play in the BCS championship game because they would all be in the playoff. So it wouldn't matter.
Mr. Mark, come on. Back then, it was better. We all rather had the BCS at this point over damn playoffs.
Really?
Yes. I will go back to the BCS. Look at the BCS match. Okay, let's go take it to another conversation. You got
who should have played? Who would have played if we had a BCS championship game last year? Who would have played in the BCS championship game?
It'll be Ohio State.
Why? Ohio State would have played in the BCS championship game last year?
They were one of the best teams, Mark.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
Are people hearing this? Ohio State at the end of the regular season had just lost to a 6-5 Michigan team. They finished 4th place in the Big Ten. They would not have been playing in the BCS championship game.
Mr. Mark, we had that long time ago. We had one team that did that too. It was back in probably.
You name me a team that finished in 4th place in their conference that played in a BCS championship game. That never happened.
Florida was 10-2 when they went to the BCS championship in 2006. We lost to Auburn.
No. Florida was 12-1.
You sure?
They lost one game.
But that was unranked Auburn.
And they won the SEC championship game.
This is true.
Yes.
This is true.
You're arguing with the wrong guy, Trey.
Oh, come on now, Mark.
I do enjoy your theories, but they hold absolutely no water. None.
Why are you saying? Okay, if it was,
I enjoy the conversation, but
you look at the frame of work of the. Not only it's like your polls, right? The strength of schedule.
What polls? What are we talking about?
The one
the AP poll,
the one you had the other day.
Oh, well, that's a ranking. Mine is a ranking. There's a difference between a ranking and a poll.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like
I don't take a poll.
Well, you had a ranking.
Okay.
And it's just like your ranking, the strength of schedule matters. The team, how well is the team built around each other?
What's this have to do with what you were just telling me?
Ohio State was the best, top to bottom.
Trey,
they lost to a good. If they had to do it again, it will be Ohio State and Notre Dame. Those two teams at the end.
No, sir.
Yes,
no,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
No, sir.
At the end of the year,
Trey,
they were on top of their game.
Would you do me a
except
favor?
for the Michigan game.
Do me a favor. Just please close your mouth for like 20 seconds. Let me explain something. If there was a BCS championship game last year, Ohio State would not have come anywhere close to playing in a BCS championship game at the end of the regular season. They didn't even make their own conference championship game. They were nowhere close to being in the top 2 spots in anyone's rankings. They had lost 2 games. They lost to a 6-5 Michigan team. The teams that would have been considered for a BCS championship game would have been Georgia. They won the SEC championship, and Oregon. Notre Dame was 11-1. Your BCS championship game at the end of the regular season last year would have been Oregon and Georgia, the Big Ten champion and the SEC champion.
Hold on. You can't hold on. That don't make no sense. Georgia, even though they won the SEC championship, they lost 2.
So did Ohio State. What was Georgia's quality? I can't believe I'm having this asinine conversation. We have pushed into inane insanity, asinine territory right now that I'm even making an argument. What was Ohio State's seeding in the playoff?
Probably. Let me look it up again. I just got off for it.
They were number 8. They were the 8th seed in the playoff. They would not have been playing in a BCS championship game last year.
Okay.
So, Trey, I think you're getting confused with what eventually happened is that Ohio State did get into the playoff and they did prove to be the best team in the country and they won 4 consecutive games.
Hold on.
Hang on just a second. That would not have been taken into consideration because that would not have occurred under the BCS system.
What? The BCS? Well, hold on now, Mr. Mark. I love your opinions and I love
I'm not stating opinion here. I'm stating fact.
What? Mr. Mark.
I think we've gotten I hope we have gotten to the trolling stage of this conversation. I think you're just trolling me at this point.
No, Mr. Mark. Ohio State, if you look at the end of the year, and you can't really hold rivalry week accountable now, Mr. Mark.
No, we don't count those games. You're right. We do not count those games. Yes, it was a rivalry game. We do not count those. I can't believe I am not being paid to absorb this kind of stupidity. So,
come on,
Trey,
Mr. Mark.
You're a great guy. Thanks for calling. You have a great night. No, I should be paid like millions of dollars to absorb that kind of stupidity. That conversation went from being like a fun, like hypothetical conversation to like complete stupidity. That was beyond atrocious is not the right word. Like that he could not separate playoff games from the regular season. I understand in our perception, this is one of the things that's wrong with this world, is that we've got people out there that don't understand facts from like some kind of strange perception. What Ohio State accomplished last year would not have been possible in a BCS system. If we went back in time 15 years and we took that same Ohio State team and the same exact results, there would not have been a soul on the planet that would have argued that Ohio State should be playing in the BCS championship game. There would have been people like me that would have said, wow, that was a lost cause. That was a lost season because that's probably the best team in the country, but they blew it. So yes, the two teams clearly that would have been playing in a BCS championship game last year at the end of the regular season was Oregon, who was undefeated in the Big Ten champion. And then the next spot would have gone to Georgia as the SEC champion and 11-2, because the only other options you would have had would have been Texas, who just lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game, Penn State, who just lost to Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Then you had an 11-2 Arizona State team as the Big 12 champion and a 10-3 Clemson team as the ACC champion. And you would have had a slight argument. Some would have argued for Notre Dame at 11-1, but obviously they didn't play in a conference. I started to get a feel there that maybe he come on, Hall of Fame Trey. I think at some point, maybe we were just pulling my chain at some point there. All right. We've got Muley stopping by. Muley, what's going on?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, that was a crazy conversation that I'm still recovering over that. But I'll just keep it to one question. At what point do you think that we gotta say the ARC show is over? You know, do you think at any point of the season, if it keeps going, that ARC could potentially be benched?
Who's going to get benched? I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying if it keeps going the way it is. Can you hear me?
Yes. I just can't understand who you're proposing to get benched. Did you say Drew Aller?
Not Drew Aller, Arch Manning. Arch.
Oh, Arch.
Yeah.
ARCH. Yeah, I could see it. Hopefully politics don't play into it. Hopefully NIL pay does not play into it. Hopefully Steve Sarkisian is free to make football decisions. And hopefully James Franklin is as well. But I don't think that either one of them, as long as they're in playoff contention, would make that move. But actually what you bring up is certainly viable, reasonable, all of those things.
Because, I mean, the team is now at 2 losses now. And you know this. We know they have the weapons. They have okay, maybe you can argue that. I haven't been watching Texas like that. I'm not gonna lie, but we know that they have good players in their defense, and it's a pretty well-run team, right? Do you think that there's pressure for this program sooner rather than later to make a change?
Pressure on the coach?
Yeah.
Well, definitely James Franklin has a lot more pressure on him than Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian just made it to the Final Four, which of course James Franklin did, but Steve Sarkisian is on an upward trajectory other than, these hiccups this year, where James Franklin's in a much different place from that standpoint. Now, we're not at practice watching these backups take reps every day. and I'm actually going to my rosters to find our backups. Gruckenmeyer's I'm mispronouncing his name, I believe, but I'll come up with it here with the Penn State backup quarterback. Trey Owens is listed as the backup quarterback, so Texas fans would have to tell you how good he's supposed to be. And then they have Matthew Caldwell, who started a number of games and threw 13 touchdowns, 8 picks at Troy last year as the backup quarterbacks to Arch Manning at Texas. Mm-hmm. And then again, the guy that is the heir apparent to Drew Aller at Penn State is actually his backup right now, and he's actually been there for a while. So he should be, let me make sure I got his name. Yeah, Ethan Grunkenmeyer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you're raising an interesting point.
That's also a good point too with Drew Aller. We've given him so many years, and I'm not that I've gone and dissected his film, but from what I've seen some things where he's falling on draft stocks and stuff because of how he's been able to process the field being slow at times and whatnot. And when you consider Purdue is doing at Missouri, the fact that he was the backup there and waited, but now he went to Missouri, and in the games he's at least played, he's made some incredible throws and incredible reads, and looks pretty comfortable in that offense.
Yeah, it is kind of strange to see that basically under the Sean Clifford, Drew Aller reign at Penn State, that Will Levis went to Kentucky because he couldn't break into the starting lineup. And then he became basically a first-round pick. I think he was the first pick of the second round in the NFL draft out of Kentucky. And now we've got Bo Pribula, who's leading a Missouri team that's undefeated and put up 42 points against Kansas a couple weeks ago. And he was run off, in a sense. Of course, he could make his own decisions, but you know what I mean, by Drew Aller and him being the starting quarterback at Penn State. So you raise an interesting conundrum for these coaches, because the other thing that I'm sure they're taking into consideration, and this should not go in front of the team, but it's still a difficult decision when knowing that these guys are hoping to be high picks in the NFL draft. Well, Arch Manning's going to play another year, so he's going to be around, and he should be, unless he plays lights out from here on out, he better be battling for that job next year. It shouldn't be just given to him as an incumbent. But in the case of Drew Aller, of course, he's going to the NFL, and it would not look good if he was benched at Penn State.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like also at that point he's been the starter for so long. I don't know if they're willing to make that kind of change, which, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So no, that's the only point I had to bring up.
Well, it's a good
it's something
point.
worth thinking about.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point.
Sure. All right, that's all I had for right now, Mark. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Muley. Appreciate it. All right, Duke on top of Cal, 31-21 near the end of the third quarter. We got Fresno State on top of Nevada, 20-17. The Bulldogs could move their record to 5-1. Cal's also looking to get to 5-1 with a second ACC win. Consider this: the winner of the Duke-Cal game will continue to be undefeated in the ACC. Duke would be 3-0. So we kind of wrote off Duke after they got blasted in the fourth quarter by Illinois and lost by 26 points. And then they went to Tulane and lost, but they will be 3-0 in the ACC. Think about that. Maybe we'll have Duke in the college football playoff. They'll be 9-3 and still make the college football playoff as the ACC champion. All right. We've got a lot of folks here. So I'm going to put you on. We'll take these 4 calls, and since we are way over time, I'm not going to state anything, but I want to give you guys the floor. So, boom, give me your best 30 to 60 seconds. We'll start with Luke. What you got, Luke?
Hey, Mark. 2 questions. One, after we're about 5-6 weeks into the college football season, which head coach do you think is going to get fired next?
Luke Fickell. Wait, hang on. Let me give this a couple seconds of thought. So, obviously, we got Billy Napier, we got Luke Fickell. Who else would be on the chopping block? Can you help me out here? Anybody else that I'm missing that would be on the chopping block? Those are the two obvious ones.
Those are kind of the head coaches. We're going coordinators, Pat Shurmur.
Yeah, so out of the head coaches, I'm going to say that Luke Fickell is next and then Billy Napier.
Yeah, I agree. And then also my last point. Do you think Hawaii has a shot at the Mountain West?
Well, I've only seen Hawaii play a little bit against Stanford, and I really don't watch. Not that I don't like the Mountain West, but obviously they're playing at the same time as the big boys. So those are the games I'm watching. So I really don't know how good. What is Hawaii's record right now? What are we looking at here?
Believe they are 4-1.
Let me see.
4-1. Maybe I know they beat Air Force. They had a pretty good game against Air Force.
Yes. So let's look at them real quick here. So the Mountain West standings look like this. So obviously they've all just played basically one game. So they've already lost a conference game. So they are a game behind there. But
right.
yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I saw Hawaii play the last quarter against Stanford and obviously pulled out that game. And everybody loves this field goal kicker that they've got. That's one of the best in the nation.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Eric Collins? You know, the announcer for Fox Sports. He said that the kicker is a dark horse Heisman candidate.
Yeah, this was brought up last week by somebody. So Eric Collins has been kicking around for quite some time. He used to be with the Big Ten Network. I always thought that he did a capable job. I didn't think he was one of the best in the business, but he was fine. And I think that's a completely ridiculous statement to make.
Yeah. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about, but have a good night and thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Yeah, we kind of kicked that around last week, and I went further into detail of why that's an asinine statement to make. But you know what? People are talking about Eric Collins now because he made an asinine statement. So that's how social media and how this business now works. So maybe I'll start making more asinine comments so people can talk about me. So we got Casey stopping by. Casey, what's going on?
Hey, Mark. I just wanted to talk about appreciate you taking my call. I know you dealt with Sling Blade, and then the other caller didn't understand the BCS previously, but just wanted to see how you thought about Miami's game tonight.
Well, I thought they were dominant. I thought they played great. At no point did I think that they were going to give up that lead. So that Florida State comeback didn't seem real legit to me. Obviously, it counts, and they did technically have a chance at the end, but and I know Mario Cristobal wasn't real pleased with that, and he shouldn't be, but they
dominated that football game. Cool.
I think that they've got the best resume in the country.
Yeah. I was just a little bit, I guess, concerned about the way they kind of gave up that lead in the fourth quarter, but other than that, pretty pleased with tonight.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, what do you think as far as like the rest of the slate today? Bama, I'm not sure what to think about them. They just don't seem real physical. Vandy kind of, sort of gave that game away with some red zone turnovers. What do you think about that game today?
Well, I thought that Bama tightened up on defense after first two drives. They looked great on defense. Their pass rush was maybe not overwhelming, but it was effective. They covered well. They tackled in space. I thought their defense looked great after the first two drives. They basically gave up a drive, and then they gave up a 65-yard touchdown run, and then nothing after that. I do think that they need to look at their play calling and their execution in the red zone on offense. That was a bit of an issue. But I think Ty Simpson looks great.
Yeah. Simpson looks great. I'm thinking more of like Bama doesn't seem like they running the ball as well this year. They're just not quite as physical.
And they weren't last year either. They relied on Jalen Milroe to do everything.
Yeah. I think that's going to kind of catch them. I think Missouri's going to be a tough game for them. They're going to Missouri next week. I think this will be a real tough game for them.
All right. Anything else, sir?
No, I appreciate you taking my call. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Good to hear from you. All right. I guess I'm going to take this time off of our shows this week is what we'll do. But we got Vol. I don't know what the rest of that says. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Okay. We got somebody who loves to breathe heavily. So hopefully they're going to get some medical help and maybe some emotional and mental help. I'm guessing that is required as well. All right. Lucas, what's going on tonight?
Mark, I was dead wrong about Texas A&M in the preseason.
Okay. We all hit it. Give me your best 30 to 60 seconds, Lucas.
Going into this year,
yes,
I thought the stench of Jimbo and I thought the stench of Kevin Sumlin still in College Station. Unfortunately, I'm wrong. I thought going into this week, I thought Mississippi State has an opportunity to pull off the upset. Texas A&M secondary not looking as good as they usually do. They go in and they absolutely own the line of scrimmage. Was it a sloppy first half? Yes. Did they wait all the way until the fourth quarter to make it look good to pad the stat sheet? Yes. But is Texas A&M legit this year? Yes. They're a top 3 SEC team in my power rankings. Gonna have to break it down a lot. I would break down a lot more around the SEC. We wouldn't have more time for that, but hey, plug is a plug. Y'all go check out SEC at the Voice of College Football for more on that. Mark, have a good night, man. You need to get some sleep.
Hang on, Lucas. Hang on just a second, Lucas, because your plug's not going to be too effective if people don't know where to go and at what time.
So we'll be on every night at right after all of SEC action, Saturday nights. Sometimes we'll go on Sundays depending on where I'm at. But every day after all the SEC action is through, Saturday nights, y'all go and check it out. SEC at the Voice of College Football.
Awesome. And South Carolina as well.
Yes. We're live, Tuesdays and Friday nights. Live show, call-in show. South Carolina's a mess right now, though, Mark.
Yeah,
so
they are.
It's always fun.
Thanks, Lucas.
Later, brother.
Good to see you, man. All right. People just keep calling. Defiant, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much, Mark. How are you doing?
I am doing great. What's up?
Yeah, I'll be kind of quick with my 2 points here, but Virginia has surprised me a lot this season in the ACC.
Amen.
I know that conference is wide open like the Big 12, but they really took a big step last week beating Florida State, and I think they took a big step today beating Louisville on the road.
For sure. They were roughly a touchdown underdog in both games. I got to say, I picked Louisville to win today against Virginia. So I did make the statement after last week's victory against Florida State that if they go to Louisville, which is a difficult place to go play and beat a Jeff Brom coach team, I've got all the respect in the world for Jeff Brom, and they pulled that game off, then we can now start to respect Virginia and give them some love and start to track them a little bit. They're 3-0. And they got a pretty light schedule the rest of the way. Now that they have made their way through Florida State and Louisville, we see they're 3-0 in the conference. We are now seeing, Washington State out of conference game doesn't matter in terms of conference. North Carolina, Cal, Wake Forest, Duke, and Virginia Tech. Now, are they going to just steamroll that schedule? No, they're Virginia, so we don't know. It's not a given, but they are certainly capable of winning all those games for sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that North Carolina game might give them a little scare. I mean, I think it will be a game where it's kind of like they're favored by maybe a decent amount that could be a little bit close. But yeah,
why
they have a pretty easy schedule.
Why did you pick that one out? North Carolina is playing the very worst football of anybody in the conference. I'm just curious as to why you would pick on North Carolina, because they are playing just completely. They are the UCLA now of the country.
I know Wake Forest is going to be a pretty decent game.
Sure.
But I don't know. I was just picking a random team just to kind of make a point a little bit. There will be like a game, I think, down the stretch where they will have a little difficult time.
I saw a statistic today that North Carolina is the only team in the country that has lost every game by at least 25 points.
Yeah,
That's
that Clemson game today didn't help them either at all.
Yeah.
So they have a chance. And I mean, again, in the preseason, I did not expect them to be this good. I mean, again, I didn't expect them to be Florida State, but hey, props to I can't think of a head coach over there at all right now. But
Tony Elliott.
Tony Elliott, yeah, Tony Elliott. The way that he's kind of built this program in the last couple of years after what happened with Bronco Mendenhall and the tragedy they had, I think in 22, 23. Just kind of see like the impact that this team has now compared to what they had a couple years ago, because they were like one of the worst teams the last couple of years. So I mean, it's to see the way that they kind of are doing a little bit better now. It's great to see so many schools like Virginia that are like basketball schools actually be decent at football again.
Yeah. If there's anybody out there I'm rooting for right now, it's Virginia.
Mm-hmm. And again, seeing this schedule, they should be at least they should be favoring all these games. And again,
I would expect. I think that they're going to be an underdog going to Cal and probably at Duke, but very slight underdogs.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, it's not. Yeah, like you said, it's not going to be like a big line as the underdog. But yeah, I think again, they should probably win almost all these games. If not, they might drop maybe Cal or Duke and finish 10-2, 9-3. But that's an improvement. That's definitely an improvement over the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, at this point, we don't really care or shouldn't care about their overall record. It's all about winning this conference, getting to the ACC championship game. That's their entry point.
Yeah, and again, the last couple of years, they kind of shown like last year was a step up too, 5-7, I believe they went. So yes. I mean, yeah, they improved the last couple of years, but this year I think is really they took the next step. And I know, again, people all thought like Georgia Tech would be good, Miami, of course, and maybe like another team. But Virginia is definitely that dark horse now, I think, to make it.
They certainly are. All right, Defiant. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. We've got Go Diego Go. All right. And we've got we got another one of these clowns, I think, that has multiple accounts, and so they think they're clever. So if this is the best you can do in life, is to create multiple YouTube accounts to like try to fool some kind of host on a live stream so you can get on and make a fool of yourself, like I feel bad for you, because there must be something going very wrong in your life. All right. So we got Kano stopping by. Kano, what's going on?
Hey, Mark. So I'm going to keep this very short. First of all, I don't know what that call was. Hopefully that never happens again. Second of all, Jalen Daniels.
There's been much worse. The Heisman. Go ahead. Yes.
Jalen Daniels for Heisman. He had a great game today. Kansas came out with the W against UCF, which was a solid team. They were 3-1. So they could compete in the Big 12. Hawaii, I think they can win the Mountain West as well. And Texas and Penn State have not proven anything, and Drew Aller and Arch Manning have absolutely no class whatsoever.
I think you were on it on all those points. I still don't know the whole reasoning about the term class, but I got you. They're playing lousy football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely. Did you pick that up from Adam, or is that a thing, calling people that are no good at what they do having no class? Is that what that is?
I think Adam started it, and like after watching how Drew Aller just lost to an 0-4 UCLA team, who I thought was probably the worst Power 4 team I've ever seen in my life, and they lost, and UCLA put up 41 points against them. I think that's pretty embarrassing. And Drew Aller, he underplayed. Nico, I don't even want to try to pronounce his last name because I'm probably not going to say it right, but he outperformed him easily. And I mean, Drew Aller, he didn't play that well. Arch Manning, I think he's had a pretty bad season. He's struggled a lot, if I'm being honest. He's not played well at all.
Yeah. So I watched the entire Florida-Texas game, and as I stated earlier, Arch Manning was just like a different guy every drive. Like one drive, he was throwing ducks all over the place, looked horrible. Then he would throw like 3 NFL kind of passes, and then he would just go back and forth. He's just all over the place, and that's not what you want out of a championship quarterback. That's not going to be good enough for Texas. And yeah, Drew Aller, obviously Penn State has other issues as well, but he's going to take the brunt of the criticism because he is the guy, and he is not playing well. And we're looking at Jalen Daniels' numbers from today right there, 18 of 26 for 235. Did not throw a touchdown pass, though.
Yeah, the running back, I
10
think, had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, so they scored 30 points, but that's not going to help the stat line right there.
No. But last week he threw for 455, 4 touchdowns, ran for 50 yards, and ran for a touchdown. But he lost against Cincinnati last week. But I think getting the win was that was what was important this week for him. Just getting the win. Yeah. And I mean, if he continues on this path, I think he'll win the Heisman.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with that. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but the odds are stacked against him. But it's possible.
Yeah.
I think he needs to have a couple big games down the stretch that is going to vault Kansas into the Big 12 championship game. Now, if he can do that, then I think we can recalibrate. But to your point is best made by stating that Cade Klubnik, Arch Manning, Drew Aller, there's 3 of the would-be top quarterbacks in the country. They're gone. Forget them. They're done. And Julian Say and Bryce Underwood, they're not necessarily stepping up and like claiming that, they're having decent seasons. They're having good seasons. But in terms of Heisman candidacy, they're not just, mounting exceptional stats. Look out for Dante Moore to make a possible bid too.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's probably, with Mateer hurt, Dante Moore is probably the front runner in most people's opinions. Especially
but I think Jalen Daniels is a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like going into preseason, I vouch for him as an underrated quarterback, and this Kansas being an undervalued team in the wide open Big 12. And I mean, with all these high profile quarterbacks not living up to the hype, I think, 6-year senior, he's really experienced. He's undervalued.
Yeah, as our buddy Ralph is saying here, Kansas would need to win out, and he needs monster games. I don't know that they need to win out as long as they get to a Big 12 championship. I think that that's going to factor in. Not that he could not win the Heisman without getting to the Big 12 championship game, but that would be a huge factor in it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Cool.
Thank you for having
Good to
me.
hear from you. Absolutely. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to go to work on the top 25 that actually makes sense, whether that's directly now or sometime in the morning, sometime at some point. We hope to get that released on Sunday. I got to tell you that based on the results and based on what went down today, I always struggle with, I want to see some highlights of some of these games. I sit there and watch 2 games at noon, 2 games at 3:30, 2 games in prime time, and I still don't see nearly as much college football as I would like. I know I would love to see the extended highlights of the Nebraska-Michigan State game. I would love to see, well, I did not watch, except for the last couple drives of the game, Penn State and UCLA. Even like this Kansas UCF game, I'd like to go back and check out the extended highlights there. I actually just went back and watched the Cincinnati Kansas highlights just a couple days ago from their game that went down to the wire. I had heard some things about Brendan Sorsby in that game, so I wanted to see that. Virginia Louisville going to overtime. Did not see one play of that game. So I want to go back and catch up on some of these games. So appreciate you being here, the voice of college football. Keep in mind that on Sunday night, we've got the mini Doreen Ladies of College Football show. It's right here at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So boom, same channel, 9 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday night. And then you can join me, and there's a reason we're doing this. Monday's show throughout the rest of the season, every Monday is going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern time, just like every other night, but it's going to be over on SG1 Sports at the Voice of College Football. So I will post that link to the community page here, so you've got that. And no, I'm not bragging about my record today because it sucks. I think I went 7-11 against the spread. I missed 3 games by 0.5 point. I had Kentucky in 20.5. They lost by 21. I had Colorado in 13.5. They lost by 14. And there was one other game that I missed by 0.5 point. So you got to have a bad week at some point, I guess, but that kind of ruins my record. But David, thank you so much for your contribution there. That's very nice of you. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So thank you, David. And again, I would just urge and encourage all of you to show up for Minnie and Doreen's Ladies of College Football show. It's right here, same channel, 9 p.m. Eastern time. They have a whole lot of fun for 60 plus minutes. So please join them on Sunday night, and we will see you next time. Rob, thank you so much for leaving this comment in the chat to alert me of Super Chat. So I did miss one. So again, David, thank you so much for your contribution. That's very kind of you. I did miss Adams. So my apologies there. I believe I got, Doreen and Rob. So Adam says, do I really need to read this? Do you copy and paste this, Adam? Mark, Drew Aller and Penn State are a disgrace given the great games and level of competition each week. Will you place less emphasis on the number of losses and weigh more heavily the quality of those losses? Yes, that is already part of my formula. Wins and losses, schedule, meaning opponents, performance. And the best way to describe performance evaluation is who won a big game tonight. Who won a big game that was either really close or was a blowout? A couple weeks ago, Indiana beats Illinois 63-10. They completely tore them to shreds, annihilated them, tore them apart. I evaluate that game differently than if Indiana would have beat Illinois 28-27. And the two teams would have been like this. Still crediting Indiana with the win, 28-27, but the evaluation is completely different based on the level of performance shown in the win or the loss. So thank you, Adam. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Doreen. And thank you so much, David, for supporting us here at the Voice of College Football. And for everyone else, please just hit the like button. So it has always been my intent here and always my claim that I appreciate the Super Chats. You cannot believe how much I appreciate the Super Chats, but I do not want to make that some kind of process where anyone feels obligated in any such way. We should be self-sufficient. Otherwise, we should be. We're not at the Voice of College Football, but we should be. All right. Which leads me to a sponsor meeting. So hope and pray that we get a sponsor on Monday. And we'll be back here. I will be on Monday night over on SG1 Sports at the Voice of College Football. Minnie and Doreen, Sunday night, right here, 9 p.m. Eastern.